You are looking at State Farm Stadium in Glendale, home of the NCAA Final Four, where one team will win it all come Monday night.
Hello and welcome to this special Final Four edition of Cronkite News. I'm Paul Schultz.
And I'm Riley Swenson. We're here outside the Phoenix Convention Center, where a lot of the big events of the Final Four are set to take place, including FanFest. Should be a big weekend here in the Valley.
Yeah, Riley, and over the past couple weeks, the field of 68 has been whittled down to just 4 teams: UConn, Alabama, Purdue, and NC State. A blend of powerhouses, newcomers, and underdogs, all looking for college basketball's ultimate prize.
We've defied the odds this year, just with past champions and losing everything that we lost from last year's team and having this giant target that we've carried the entire year, the UConn target, plus the defending national champs target. Our fan base and our organization right now, it's an us against the world of college basketball.
It's been a long road for all the teams playing in Phoenix here this weekend, but possibly none harder than the 11-seed NC State being the underdogs. They defeated Texas Tech in the first round and then took down Oakland and Jack Golke in round number 2 in overtime. That punched their ticket into the Sweet 16, where they met up with Marquette. A poor shooting performance from the Golden Eagles put them in the Elite Eight against in-state rivals Duke, and a big second half led them to the Final Four for the first time in over 40 years.
Alabama started things off with a bang, scoring 109 points in their first round victory over Charleston. They then took care of business against Phoenix's own Grand Canyon University before defeating the number 1 seed North Carolina Tar Heels, then number 6 Clemson, to punch their ticket to the Final Four.
We head now to the Midwest region, where Purdue had possibly the most pressure heading into the tournament, but they absolutely rolled for the first weekend, beating Grambling State and Utah State with ease. They then headed to the Sweet 16, where they would take on Gonzaga, and a double-digit victory there was able to put them into the Elite Eight against a Tennessee team that they already saw earlier in the season, and a 6-point victory over Rick Barnes' Vols put them in the Final Four, and a redemption possibly after last season.
The defending champs are trying to repeat. Dan Hurley's UConn Huskies defied the odds, beating Stetson, Northwestern, San Diego State, and then blowing out Illinois in their quest to repeat as national champions.
The teams have arrived in Arizona and have begun practicing at State Farm Stadium in Glendale. That's where we find our Jonah Krell, who has more on the semifinal matchups.
2 top dogs, an offensive juggernaut that can hang with anybody, and of course, a Cinderella. The 2024 Final Four has just about everything you could ask for. Let's start with the first semifinal game on Saturday. Number 1 Purdue against number 11 NC State. Of course, the matchup everyone is clamoring for is the battle of the big men. Wooden Award favorite Zach Edey and fan favorite DJ Burns Jr. The Boilermakers are looking to redeem their first-round exit from a year ago with a title, while NC State might just be a team of destiny, as it's now a winner of 9 straight elimination games.
It gets to a point, when you're winning games and like the way we are, where you expect to win. And I think our guys now are expecting to win, and it's, it's beautiful to watch.
Next up is number 1 seed UConn against 4-seeded Alabama. This game could feature some fireworks, as both teams are 2 of the top 3 most efficient offenses in the country. The Crimson Tide hit the 2nd most threes in the country, but the question is, can it even keep it close against the Huskies, who have outscored their opponents by over 27 points in the tournament?
Our defense is elite. Our offense is elite. We rebound the ball. These guys play every possession like it's the end of the world. And then, we've got NBA level players that, are just willing to share. And, they've created an unbelievable culture. We're going to be tough to beat.
The Huskies are trying to become the first back-to-back champs since the 06-07 Florida Gators, while Alabama and Purdue are seeking their first national championship in program history. And finally, the Wolfpack are trying to turn the clock back to 1983, when it went on a magical title run under Jim Valvano. At State Farm Stadium, Jonah Krell, Cronkite News.
All right, thank you for that, Jonah. And it's hard to think that UConn won't just breeze through this tournament and the Final Four like they have been doing. And to talk about the basketball coming up this weekend, we have college basketball and ASU basketball analyst Kyle Dodd joining us. And Kyle, we've mentioned UConn. They've been so dominant. Is there anyone left that can possibly beat them here in this Final Four?
To be honest, I don't think so. I think that this is a run that we've seen over the last couple weeks that has not been touched in quite some time. They've been dominant at every stage. It was going to be really hard for them to win 2 in a row. I thought that would be the challenge. It's always hard to do that, but they lost a lot, and it looks like they've just reloaded, and they're smashing everybody. A 30-0 run in the Elite Eight is something we've never seen before, and I think it's going to take a really nice effort from a really experienced team to beat them. And there is a couple teams that may be able to provide that, but for me, I think UConn's obviously the team to beat, clearly.
And you look at some of the other teams here, another 1 seed in Purdue, who's kind of playing with a chip on their shoulder the way their season ended last year, and then NC State, who's kind of playing with house money. Which one of those 2 mindsets do you think will really take them all the way?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, March Madness is built on stories that, Cinderellas, if you want to call them that. But, NC State had such a historic run in the ACC tournament and has been able to carry that through. So, I mean, it's a special story. I think that's the underdog story. Purdue, obviously, with the downfall last year and the upset to the 16 seed, they're motivated. Edey's back. You saw his press conference after the Elite Eight game, basically called out everybody in the country for passing on him. So I think he's motivated. And I think it's going to be them, if anybody, that will challenge UConn.
All right, Kyle, thank you so much for joining us. After the break, this isn't the first time Arizona has hosted the Final Four. We'll take a look back in time.
Plus, look at the hardwood being laid down at State Farm Stadium when we come back.
ASU's one and only student-run radio station, Blaze Radio, provides students with opportunities to cover a variety of topics. From music,
this is Sun City Garage,
to sports coverage,
against the Brewers in his last outing, he went
to news.
The bill also gives parents the ability to sue.
And entertainment updates. Blaze Radio offers a fun environment to gain valuable broadcast experience. To find out more, visit blazeradioonline.com.
Here at the TV Production and Graphics Lab, we are behind the scenes making the news happen. Gain experience in the control room directing, teledirecting, and rolling the audio of every Cronkite News show. Run the floor and work in a professional environment, honing your skills for the future. Create graphics that will be seen by the local community on Arizona PBS. Be a part of the bloodline that makes the Cronkite News shows possible.
State Farm Stadium in Glendale is home to the 2024 Men's Final Four, just the second time the event has come to Arizona. And we are here to get you ready for it. And Paul, we all know that the State Farm Stadium is home to the Arizona Cardinals in football, but it's going to look a little different this weekend.
Yeah, Riley, that stadium had to go through a huge transformation to get ready for this event, and our Jack Pearson shows us how they laid down the hardwood.
Piece by piece, Connor Sports is laying the floor for the men's NCAA Final Four, making sure each part of the puzzle fits not only perfectly, but effortlessly.
There's no loose parts or no loose hardware, so the actual pin itself that holds the panel to panel together is fused in with a piece of strip iron that's listed as our groove. So it's a tongue and groove design. The panel goes down at like a 45-degree angle, and as you guys can see behind me, they're just going to slide it right in place. As soon as it's slid in place, it's locked in, it's not going anywhere.
The hardwood is all custom built in a process that takes approximately 10 months. It all begins in Crystal Falls, a small town in Michigan. There, the wood gets cut, cured, and assembled into the wood panels that are installed at the stadium. It's a team effort that takes hundreds of workers and volunteers, and most of them are right here in the Valley.
We'll have about 2 or 3 people representing Connor Sports on site who are overseeing the install. Then we'll pull together a labor force from the surrounding city. So people that are installing the court right now is pretty cool. It's all Phoenix people.
The process of turning this venue upside down continues with adding a large jumbotron and bringing in extra seating on the lower portions of the stadium. The extra seats will allow an estimated 75,000 fans to attend. That's much larger than the normal 63,400 at an average Cardinal game.
Taking this all in and just taking a deep breath to see how far a court from a tiny little pin drop of a town in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan is on arguably the biggest stage of basketball in the country is just something that's special to me.
This year's floor is all set and ready to be played on by the last 4 teams remaining. Now we can only wait and see what story will be told. In Glendale, Jack Pearson, Cronkite News.
And the NCAA requires the capacity of a stadium to be at least 70,000 to host the men's Final Four.
Yeah, Riley, State Farm Stadium, the perfect venue for this event. They hosted it 7 years ago, the last time the Final Four was here, and our Maria Stobbs shows us what's changed in those 7 years.
After Gonzaga and UNC went head-to-head at the stadium in 2017, an ASU study found the Final Four generated more than $324 million in economic impact for the Phoenix area.
Since then, the area has seen a significant growth, and with the NCAA tournament bringing in college basketball fans from all over, there are options for shopping, dining, and hotels. And just steps away from the stadium, right here at the Westgate Entertainment District, there are about 1,300 hotel rooms to choose from. But in 2017, 400 of these rooms weren't around. In fact, there were just under 900 hotel rooms available within a mile from the stadium. And along with more hotels, there's also more options for dining. The district has added more restaurants in the past 7 years, including ones with activities like Top Golf or Chicken and Pickle for pickleball enthusiasts. And with all of that traffic, that means cars need somewhere to park. The stadium holds 22,500 parking spots. That number has stayed the same since 2017, but there are now more drop-off points for those using rideshare services. And with all this expansion, does that mean more growth?
Glendale City Manager Kevin Phelps thinks so. He says he thinks it will boost the city of Glendale's economy even more.
I think for those guests who came to the Final Four in 2017, when they arrive this week, just a few years later, they're going to see a totally different city of Glendale.
In Glendale, Maria Stobbs, Cronkite News.
It's amazing how much things have changed over those 7 years, Riley.
Yeah, Paul, especially here in downtown Phoenix. There's a whole lineup of events going on here and throughout the valley. Let's take a look at what some of those are. Starting Friday, there will be 4 events lining up. The Reese's Men's Final Four Friday and the tip-off tailgate will be at State Farm Stadium. The Men's Final Four Fan Fest at the Phoenix Convention Center and the Music Festival at Margaret T. Hance Park, featuring performances by Renee Rapp, the Jonas Brothers, and more. And on Sunday, 2 more events spring up, the dribble event for children 18 and under in Heritage Square, and lastly, the HBCU All-Star Game held at Grand Canyon University.
So one of the big questions, what'll the weather look like with all this Final Four fun? For that, we'll check in with our Max Williams.
For those looking for a piece of the action or to see some of the biggest names in college basketball, the Men's Final Four Fan Fest here at the Phoenix Convention Center is the place to be. There are many events for fans to check out and enjoy this weekend, and the weather should be enjoyable as well, but not without a few strange numbers. They say that anything can happen in the month of March, but does the true madness really happen in the first week of April? Well, Phoenix has only held the men's Final Four twice now, and as we look back to 2017, we saw high temperatures as low as 73 degrees and as high as 90 degrees. It should be the same this year, as yesterday we saw temperatures in the mid-80s, but it only got as high as the mid-60s today. Expect more cooler temperatures throughout the weekend as we slowly get back up into the 70s. As we take a look at the 8-day forecast, we can see what the temperatures are going to be like on game days. For those semifinal matchups, be sure to dress in layers, because while you might not need a jacket in the afternoon, once that Alabama-UConn game finishes in the evening, you might be glad you have it. We warm up a little bit on Monday for the national championship, and the good thing is we've got plenty of sun this weekend for outdoor events like the March Madness Music Festival in Hance Park and even the Final Four dribble. In Phoenix, I'm Max Williams.
Yeah, sounds like beautiful weather all weekend, and coming up next, a special sit-down with a former NCAA tournament champion.
Here at the Walter Cronkite School, students produce award-winning content that focuses on health disparities in underserved communities and how to turn things around. In Cronkite News and Cronkite Noticias, students cover stories that affect people of color, the LGBTQ+ community, people with disabilities, and others across the Southwest.
We highlight big problems that are often overlooked in communities that are underserved.
Those stories not only inform and educate people about the challenges, but we work hard to highlight potential solutions. In the Cronkite Agency, students work to connect with community members through social media campaigns in English and Spanish.
Being a Hispanic myself, it's nice to be able to give back to my own community.
Find more of our health coverage at cronkitenews.azpbs.org.
UConn is trying to win back-to-back national titles for the first time in school history, and it all happens at State Farm Stadium in Glendale this weekend.
They've got to go the length of the court with 2.5 left. Sykes, long pass. Bill Jenkins, through three for the win! Go! Oh, my! Oh, my! Wow. Win!
I remember us standing right on the right side of the court over there while the first free throw was getting ready to go. The play that happened was really a blur. I thought the ball was short. When it's short, you kind of jump to try to give it that extra oomph, and so I felt like I was going to be short. It's a special blessing, you know. Basketball family. My brother coaches at Baylor now, won the national championship. So we've been, you know, our lives a lot have been, our schedules are entertained and around the NCAA tournament. So for have that moment in the tournament for something that we've dreamt of our whole life is very special, and now get to see the highlight years later, you know, makes it even more special.
That was Bryce Drew with his dad, Homer Drew, looking at one of the great moments in NCAA tournament history. Bryce, of course, played for his dad at Valparaiso. Now the head coach at GCU, Riley, a team you got to cover.
Yeah, and a special season there for the Lopes. They were able to win the conference regular season and conference tournament, and of course gave Alabama all they could handle, and who knows, maybe just a couple different plays go a different way. They might be in a Final Four here just like this.
Yeah, and Arizona, another team who was hoping to make it to the Final Four but wasn't able to. They were in a position just like this not long ago.
Yeah, and Miles Simon was on that team and won Most Outstanding Player at the 1997 Final Four when Arizona did cut down the nets and won the national championship. Our Sammy Miller had a special sit-down with him to reminisce on that magical title run.
I'm now joined alongside Phoenix Suns assistant coach Miles Simon. Miles, you know a little something about the tournament. Back in 1997. You won the title with the University of Arizona, an incredible run. So I brought some newspaper clippings I had to share. So I just want you to look through these and take me through your emotions as you're looking through history being made when you took down Kentucky in overtime.
Well, there's quite a few thoughts when looking at the age of the papers and like the yellowing of it. Makes me feel a little bit old, but what an amazing time. Like, one for Arizona basketball, two in my basketball career. The first picture that we see here of Lute Olson, who is the greatest college coach of all time, like, you know, just brings back a lot of great memories of him coaching me and our group, and what a leader he was. And how sorely he's missed in the basketball community. The thing that we did, we're the only team to ever beat 3 number ones. Like, it's never been done before and might not ever be done again. But like this type of stuff is like, you know, embedded in my mind forever. My boy Quinn Tebbs winning the title. I got the ball still wrapped up, and the smile, like, it's just pure joy. Like, the best basketball moment of my life. This is like tremendous.
Every kid's dream.
Yeah, like for sure at that time, and like there's no more Sports Illustrated, but I had the chance to be on the cover twice. But to have that, and like people still bring this up to me.
And Miles, I'm full of surprises today. I have something else for you. Right here, the clip of the final seconds of this game. I want you to watch this.
They're not going to foul him. It's only right. The ball's in his hands. A milestone victory for Arizona.
That's still the best all-time clip. Bennett Davison, of course, he's the goofball of our group. To mess up Coach Olson's, you know, perfectly cut hair that was never out of place, like unbelievable memory, and just like, yeah, it still brings chills to my body, because the Final Four and like winning the national championship was something I always dreamed of as a kid. Like, my dad took me to 6 or 7 Final Fours before I went to college, and I loved watching North Carolina and Georgetown and Kansas and all these other schools in the Final Four. And then I got to like live that and like be the best player in the Final Four.
Simon Says championship. You can't write it better. And with you, 2016, they honored you. Your jersey is now in the rafters at McHale Center. How incredible is it to have that special honor?
When I got the call from Greg Byrne on that one, that was really, really special, because to have your jersey up in the rafters at one of the most elite basketball schools in the country shows that you did something special, and I felt like I did that. And when Greg Byrne gave me that call, like, it actually brought me to tears. It was the last thing basketball-wise. It was in October of 2016 that my dad got to see me accomplish because he passed away 3 months later. So it even has more special meaning. And then now that I have my kids who have actually went to a game in Tucson this year, and then they get to see it up there, that their dad was actually an okay player, is pretty special.
Well, thank you so much, Coach. I wish your sons and your Wildcats the best of luck in these next few months.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
And Arizona was a 4 seed on that national championship run, just like Alabama is this year a fellow 4 seed, making their first ever appearance in the men's Final Four in school history.
Yeah, Riley, Alabama's athletic director Greg Byrne is in town. He used to be the AD at Arizona, stopped by the Cronkite Sports Bureau and chatted with our Ethan Tuttle.
Here alongside Greg Byrne, athletic director of Alabama. Greg, obviously some huge news as Alabama just got its first ever Final Four appearance. What's the excitement level like in Tuscaloosa, and what did you have to say to head coach Nate Oates after that victory?
Well, it was obviously a very special thing for our program, for the young men on our team, the coaches, the staff, but our fans. You know, people think of Alabama, they think of football with our history. We've won national championships in 5 different sports at Alabama, including football. And so whatever we do, there's a lot of attention to it. So, you know, our fan base was fired up. Somebody sent me a picture when we beat, or a video when we beat Clemson to go to the national championship, go to the Final Four, and it was an overhead shot in Tuscaloosa, and you could hear all this hooting and hollering and celebrating that was going on, and so it's something that's really special across the board. After the game, you know, I just hugged Coach Oates, and he's you know, I've told people that he was a high school teacher 11 years ago, and I love the story about him selling Capri Suns and Cheetos out of his classroom to earn gas money so he could take his team on trips. And so he's a teacher at heart. He's a really good basketball coach. He's ahead of the curve. But he also cares very much about the young men in the program, and they care about him. And so it really was a surreal moment for everybody involved. But it's great to be out here in Phoenix. Selfishly, I wish we could have been in Atlanta or Dallas or someplace that our folks could drive to a little bit easier this week. But we're not complaining. We're very happy to be here in Arizona, and the folks here in Phoenix are doing a wonderful job of hosting our team and the other teams.
Now, the head coach of Alabama, Nate Oates, had an interesting journey to Alabama. Part of that credit goes to the Hurley family. He used to coach with Bobby Hurley at Buffalo.
Yeah, now, of course, he'll face Dan Hurley in the national semifinals. We will hear more from the Hurley family coming up after the break.
Don't go away. More men's Final Four coverage is coming your way.
Here at the TV Production and Graphics Lab, we are behind the scenes making the news happen. Gain experience in the control room directing, teledirecting, and rolling the audio of every Cronkite News show. Run the floor and work in a professional environment, honing your skills for the future. Create graphics that will be seen by the local community on Arizona PBS. Be a part of the bloodline that makes the Cronkite News shows possible.
ASU's one and only student-run radio station, Blaze Radio, provides students with opportunities to cover a variety of topics. From music,
this is Sun City Garage,
to sports coverage,
Against the Brewers in his last outing, he went
to news,
The bill also gives parents the ability to sue.
and entertainment updates. Blaze Radio offers a fun environment to gain valuable broadcast experience. To find out more, visit blazeradioonline.com.
The tie, 18. Shot, Jordan. Michael Jordan.
There's the pass to Leitner. Puts it up. Yes!
Collins driving, almost lost the handle. Chalmers for the tie. Got it for 2 seconds. At midcourt. Jenkins gives it to Jenkins for the championship. The national champions.
Yeah, Riley, so many great moments in this NCAA tournament over the years, and maybe some more to be made this week in Phoenix.
And of course, the one that stands out to people here in the Valley, that Leitner shot. Of course, Bobby Hurley on that team, that Duke Blue Devils, back-to-back national championships won. Bobby as a player, now his brother Dan has the chance to possibly do it as a coach here this weekend. And both of the Hurley brothers have a connection to Nate Oates, the head coach at Alabama. And Bobby Hurley here at ASU talked about his connections with everybody in the Final Four as we approach the weekend.
I'm grateful and I'm thankful for, you know, having the opportunity to coach with my brother for 3 years, to coach with Nate Oates for 2 years, to have had DJ Horn in my life for 2 years and what he did for me at Arizona State, helping us get to an NCAA tournament. And There's Joel Justice and Levi Watkins that help at certain stages build the Arizona State basketball program, that are assistants at NC State. So I'm just happy for everybody that they're in this moment and they have a chance to be on the stage, and they're all people that I care deeply about.
Well, it's like 6 degrees of separation with this Hurley family and their connections to the Final Four. And look who stopped by. Bobby Hurley is here with us. Bobby, your dad, of course, played in back-to-back national championships. Your uncle looking to do the same. What's the feeling like to have that sort of connection to this event?
Yeah, if you're an envious person in the Hurley family, you would not like my position. You know, my dad, uncle, grandpa, and cousin all have national championships at their respective levels. But yeah, I'm just so proud of my cousin and my uncle for how well they've done this year and last year.
Yeah, and Bobby, you mentioned, your cousin, your uncle, and then of course your dad. I gotta imagine growing up there was some fun battles around the Thanksgiving, Christmas tables. What's that like, just growing up in that basketball family, now seeing everyone have so much success at the highest level?
Yeah, I mean, I just remember as a kid in New Jersey, my uncle coaching at Wagner, my dad being an assistant, and me and my cousin messing around during their games, and to see him win a national championship and my uncle win a national championship and my dad win a conference championship as a coach. It's just been such a blessing to see all of them succeed, and especially Andrew. I mean, me and him grew up, went to camps together, so it's been truly a blessing.
Yeah, well, I'm sure a special weekend for you. It should be a special weekend for everyone involved. A lot of exciting things going down. Should be a big weekend here in the Valley.
And the big question, who will win it? UConn, Alabama, Purdue, or NC State? Thanks for joining us on this edition of Cronkite News. I'm Paul Schultz.
And I'm Riley Swenson. Thanks for joining us.